Alright, now on to the fun stuff. Now we're in one of the main production warehouses, and you'll see quite a few of these rooms here where we used to use a regular just sheetrock metal frame production, but we've gone to these freezer rooms, and as you step in, you'll notice a dramatic difference in temperature. And that is one of the reasons why we went to these rooms, so we can control the environmental inputs that we need to, which are obviously humidity, heat, and mold. So we have to test for a lot of different things, and this just helps us control that. And you'll see this is a brand new room that we put online with a new blender that will do about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds at a time. So we have really big blending capacity. We've got quite a few blenders and quite a few areas that we do this in, but that's our newest one. Okay, so we're going to move on to where we have two powder lines here, and this would be an example of a finished product where we have their logo, product, flavor, lot number, expiration date, how many we have in the case. There's a case of 6 there. Here they're just finishing up a job, but you can see this one's ready to come out. Looks like they're in transition in between one job and the next. We can step in for a quick second. So you can see this is one of the lines where we have down at the end where you see those curtains, the filled bottle comes through, gets a scoop, a lid, goes through this contraption over here called an intercon, which is a sealer. So it comes over here and it gets that heat seal for the inner seal on top, runs through here, gets a nice label on it, kicks out into this accumulation table, and at the end is box stuff and ready to go out the door. Sometimes we have to do heat shrinks on it, so it goes through the heat tunnel, kicks around. To the end there's a semi-automatic boxer. And you'll see a few of these around the facility. These are bag houses. They suck up all the dust, or the majority of the dust that you're going to find when you're running these powders, when dust is kicking out, to keep the bottles cleaner, to keep down any type of contaminants from coming in your bottle too. So this one feeds these 2 rooms. And then we've got another massive one that feeds all the other rooms. Now we'll step into another one of our blending areas. You'll see one of the smaller blenders there. Another smaller blender here. This machine is high-speed granulator, so pretty much every material except for like the silicon dioxides, proteins, and a couple of materials of that nature, we would granulate through here. And one thing that does is it creates an even particle size so that you have a nice free-flowing uniform powder, and it looks good to the eye. So that just kind of is an aesthetic use there, and sometimes it's a functional thing. And again, here is a sifter, so we use these again to work the powder through and make sure that everything is even, everything comes out and runs smoothly like we want it. Here's some of the larger blenders here. This one here is about 125 cubic foot. The big one we first saw was about 200 cubic feet, and we have a 315 cubic foot on order. So these are going to do your larger blends. Then we have a decent sized blender, but a little bit smaller. Another sifter in there. And another, I'd say medium sized blender. A little bit smaller than the last, but a very large sifter. Got another bag house right here. This is a big boy. So here's a smaller line where we run a lot of the 144s, 288, 500 unit jobs. So it's filled in one room, brought out, everything's clean, brushed off, blown off, and then it goes through and gets a label, a lot number, and boxed up at the end. And you'll see our boards here, all the respective notes of what you need to take in and understand and make notes on for the next round. So this is one of the first machines we ever bought, which allows us to do more difficult, sticky jobs, things that are harder to run on a high-speed automatic, or that are smaller runs like 144s, 288s, 500 bottle runs. We can do those here easily and efficiently. Walk back through here and take a quick glance in our label room. So we keep all of your labels secure and locked up. This is the first label room where we have a lot of the labels that we're going to use immediately. So we have some overflow rooms of things that we use less often or things that we've just run that would go in there. But you'll see we do have many different styles, textures. We have a lot of different we have a lot of capability when it comes to making some really cool looks, so that your brand stands out. The minimum order on the labels is 1,000 labels, and we can do anything from your basic white gloss, silver, metallic, holographic. We can start doing some different textures, really cool effects. It all comes down to the price that you pay, but we can do some cool stuff for you here. We also keep them locked up for the FDA guidelines so that nobody has your taking labels out of here, putting counterfeit product on the street. So we every time something comes in, we run it through our label counter, count it up, make sure that we got what they said we got, and then once we pull them, we take note of how many labels we burn setting the label machine up, and once we put them back, we count them again to make sure we're putting back the right amount. So another very important room on the quality side is the retain room. Again, this is a very small sampling of what we would keep in retains, because we have to keep 3 products 1 year past the expiration date. Our expiration dates are typically 2 years, so that means 1 year past that would be 3 years. That's quite a bit of stuff. So this is just stuff that they've probably run in the past few days, as we run about 12 to 15 jobs every day. So it adds up quick. We have a whole warehouse full of these, but just so you know, we keep these retained so that for a few things. One, because it's the law, we have to keep them. 2, if there's any quality issues on your side or you have any concerns about the product that you find out when you get it, we can come back and look and say, okay, we're looking at the same batch, we do see the problem or we don't see the problem. If we need to escalate it from there into testing, we can do different testing, and we always have the ability to kind of go back and track what we've done, not only through having the retains, but all the other records that you'll see here shortly. So this is that room. Quick veer off into, this is where we keep just capsules that we're going to use immediately. That is today or tomorrow typically. It's a small storage room just so we have the capsules over here ready to go. They're stored somewhere else in bulk. One of our encapsulators running. This is one of our house products. So right here you'll see the powder comes out through a vacuum up into the hopper. Over there where those cartridges are, that's where the capsules are separated. They're filled there, and it has the ability to tamp up to 5 times. So if we have 750, 775 milligrams per capsule, we can really stuff it down in there and make sure that the capsule comes out. Over here, there's your electronics. There, it's dropped in to what's called a Capsule Polisher. Goes in and polishes all the grit and the extra herbal or chemicals off the capsule so you don't get that taste when you put your capsule in your mouth. Every 10 minutes, we weigh 10 capsules and make sure we're hitting weight. And if we're not hitting weight, there's a whole process we have to go through. We stop, we change direction, and then we go back and fix the problem. And there he documents every 10 minutes to make sure that we're hitting the accurate capsule weight. All right. So this is one of the bottling lines. There's a slack counter over there where it feeds the pills into the bottles based on whatever count you want. You set it up for 30 count, 60 count, 90 count, 120. Feeds them in, picks them out, goes over, gets cotton, goes through the machine right there where it gets a lid screwed on, spits around into here. As you saw in our other room, we had a heat tunnel, but we found the expensive heat tunnels don't work as well here, so we rigged up 2 guns here, goes through, seals the outer plastic seal on, comes through this induction sealer like we saw in the other room, goes on through to get a label on it, kicks down to the end on the accumulating table where it gets put in the box. And then we have our board here, what they're doing, all the details, so we can keep up with every single room. We look at these every hour so that we can identify any issues. If we see something that shouldn't be running as slow as it is, great. Or if we see some efficiency that we've gotten from a new machine or a new procedure, we can see that too and go back and compare notes with the last run. So. Moving along, got our cleaning room, pretty standard there. Now we're on into the quality control area. So we have about 8 people in our quality control department right now, and that's continuing to grow. In here is where they do organizing the order before it goes into production, making sure everything's correct, making sure the label matches up with the batch record, catching any last minute issues of a product going in, making sure that everything's smooth until it comes out the back end, and then signing off on the finished product. We have a batch record which starts out electronically, and then we have to keep hard copies for up to the same amount of time, 3 years, that we keep the finished retained product. So you have your company name, product name, it gets assigned a lot number before it goes into production, any special instructions here, and a manufacturing start date. And we have a label that's matched up initially to make sure that we're making the product that the batch record says we are. Over here we've got a pre-blend checklist, so this all goes in before we start. Here we have to record all the scales that we use have to be certified, so we record which scale we weighed the product out on. So the reason we certify these and have to be done every 3 months is so that if you're weighing a kilo, we know it's 1 kilo and not 2 or not a half. We make sure that it's accurate so that everybody's safe and their products are made correctly. And on this page you'll see that there's another lot number here. So all the materials that come in at the warehouse that we have that we first visited come in with their own lot number from the manufacturer. So once we get it, we assign it a lot number that it keeps throughout the life of when it's in our facility and when it goes into your product. So that's the lot number you see here. This is the weigh sheet. So we have a theoretical weight, then we have what we got when we actually weighed it. There's a weigher, and then we have somebody that comes behind them called a checker that checks and makes sure that what the weigher's seeing is what they're seeing and everything's on par. Once that's done, we throw it in the blender. There's a blending start time. We usually stop and check. On this one, since it was such a small blend, it had a small run time, we didn't. And a blending stop time. Down here you have your yield. So we blend in for 105%. That would take care of any evaporation or shrinkage that we may encounter when we're blending it. So if we know if it comes back 110%, we know something went wrong. If it comes back at 90%, we know something went wrong. This one obviously came back right at 100%, so it was all good. These are just cleaning checklists based on the equipment we're going to use. Packaging cleaning checklist. All your packaging specs are here. We make sure that the right product's going in the right bottles with the right labels. And the QC approved label here. And label reconciliation, this is what we talked about earlier, making sure that we take the right amount of labels out and the right amount get put back based on what we ran. And that's the final release from QC. Here, every 10 minutes we weigh the capsules. We weigh 10 at a time, take an average weight and making sure that your capsules coming out on target or within range. So if we did see an issue where it was either too heavy or too light, we will stop the run and we have to do what's called a deviation report, where we write up what the issue was, what we did to correct it. If we used a material to correct it, we have to write that lot number of that material, how much of it we used, what time we did it. And in the FDA's eyes, if you didn't write it down or you didn't document it, then you didn't do it. So that's keeping track of all that. And that's pretty much it for this one. So right, we're walking on through. We're going to check out the sections of our company where your product gets made, and it's the admin support staff. In here looks like it's pretty bare right now. Not a lot of people in here, but this is where once your product is the quote's approved, you decide on a formula, you have agreed to the pricing, and you start to move through design and production. It goes into here. So here there's a variety of different packets, but just shows you the detail that they go through. So there's a work order checklist that makes sure the company name's right, the product name's right, down to the servings. Any FDA disclaimers, all that's checked off. So it's pretty detailed. Won't go through it all. It's more than a few pages. An indemnification agreement on the label. Has your invoice. It's a whole packet. Batch record. Everything so that it's double checked and triple checked before it goes into production. So we have a station where we have somebody who does, we have a specific software that we create the labels in, so that happens here. We've got somebody who goes back and forth with the label company, all the details to make sure that your labels get ordered, everything's in production and going through on time. And there's a few different things to think about when you're ordering labels, like the basic materials, which are the standard white plastic, your silver and your holographic. From proof approval, those take about 3 to 4 days to come in. Now once you start getting into some of the spot UV or the more fancy type labels, they take a little bit longer to design and get approved, and they also take a little bit longer to come in, so you need to plan for about 10 to 14 days on those to get your labels in for those. So keep on walking back. Have the lovely Susan, the lovely David there, and Alejandro and Malcolm. They run our design area. We're in the process of bringing on another one just because they're so busy and doing lots of great work, as you can see evidenced by this wall here. It showcases some of the things that they've done. So we've got a very capable design staff. We crank out about 150 to 200 designs a month. And that is increasing month to month. Alright, so we're going to jump back through and finish up with our production, and we will be good to go. See you later. Pop our head in and wave at Elias, who's our general manager here. So, as you'll see a lot of young folks in here in some of our senior positions, and that's because we promote from within. So Elias has been with me since he was 19 or 20. We walked through the office and there's a gentleman, Ryan, in there who's been with me since he's 19 or 20. A lot of our employees have been here for in excess of 6-7 years. Okay, these are just more materials packaged up, orders ready to go out. We have one last machine. This one is a single serve, one of our single serve machines. We've actually got 3. One we do capsules on, one we do small packet powders, and another we do larger packet powders, like protein powders or anything really above 16 or 17 grams. It's fluffy. These are incredibly efficient, incredibly fast machines. So any of your sample packet or single serve needs we can handle here. And one of the things that we've done that most manufacturers don't have sample machines, one, and you have to go to independent fillers if that's all they do. And they're typically going to want around a 50 to 100,000 packet minimum. We do as low as a 5,000 packet minimum, just like the 144 runs that we do. And if you think 5,000, wow, that's a lot, it's really not, because if you took 5,000 divided it by 30 servings per bottle, that's only about 167 bottles worth of material. So it really is a very effective way to market and promote your product. It gives you a big brand feel, you know, on a medium to small brand budget, and it's just a phenomenal way to get your product out there and get it in people's hands. Thanks for taking the time to walk through with us and take the tour. Hopefully you found it beneficial, and if you're ever interested in coming down and visiting us in person, we'd love to have you. And if not, we're here to support you in any way that we can. Your success is our success, and that's the beauty about this business. What I love so much is we're not going to be successful unless we help you be successful, and that's our goal here, is to do everything we can to support you and help you build your company. So thanks for coming, and have a nice day.